My name is Dana Jordan with Cascade Rescue, and our presentation is Let's Roll, Patient Transport in Non-Urban Environments. Before, I guess the way we look at things here at Cascade Rescue is that we try to create problems that are solutions that solve problems. We've created and had types of trail wheels for probably close to 30 years, but weren't really satisfied with the products we had, and so we went back and looked at some of the problems that existed. Remote locations being a really core area that we create products for. People will always, I think, recreate outdoors and go into places where they're going to be difficult to get to. They are also always going to injure themselves or encounter medical problems that will require their extraction and or care. Some of the issues that come along with that are that not all areas are accessible by motor vehicles. It'd be great if you could hop into your Hummer or your four-wheeler or ATV or whatever and go in and extract some of these folks, but it's just not reality. And in a lot of cases, it's not so much a terrain issue as it is a regulatory issue and not being able to travel into wilderness areas. There's also a huge question about rescuer safety, and endurance. If you've ever been on a long extraction, you know that carrying someone out for more than 500 yards is really a trying ordeal, and can wear rescuers out. Also, it puts them in potentially into harm's way for injuries themselves. Almost secondarily to these issues is the issue of patient comfort and care. Obviously, if they're injured, they're probably not very comfortable anyway, but you do want to try to take the best care you can of them on the way out or on the way to ALS support. The very last issue is one of legal issues, and we see this coming up more and more often as our society gets more litigious, frankly. The issue of doing your absolute best to take care of the patient while you're administering basic life support or advanced life support or transporting them to advanced life support. There have recently been more than one legal case where relatives of the person who was injured sued the rescuers and organizations they were associated with because, in their opinion, the rescuers did not do their best job in transporting and or caring for the patient on the way out. I would certainly not want to have to explain to someone why I was using this to bring somebody out, or even worse yet, this. So at Cascade, we created some transport options beyond the first product that was produced here some 30 years ago. We now offer 3 different products for remote extrication. One product that we'll start out with is the Trail Technician, and then its big brother, the Terrain Master. And then we're going to talk a little bit about a new product called the Levitator, which is really could be looked at in a couple of different scenarios. One, depending on the conditions, could be your complete rescue vehicle solution, regardless of the terrain. It could also be used as a secondary transfer vehicle where a person is extracted with a Trail Technician or a Terrain Master and then transferred to the Levitator, possibly being pulled by a 4-wheel unit of some sort. It's definitely a very advanced piece of equipment. The Trail Technician is probably the best-selling trail wheel product that we offer due to a number of reasons. Primarily, I would say it's because of its extreme lightweight and packability. The Trail Tech will fit any litter. It breaks down into two pieces which allow it to be packable, and the saddle itself, or the part that the litter sits on and is attached to, can actually stay with the litter. So the litter saddle stays with the litter. You can lay the litter down flat and load your patient on a stable platform on the ground, and then when the patient's loaded, there are several ways to attach the wheel. Probably, obviously the easiest is if you have multiple people at the rescue site, simply lift the litter up, someone reaches underneath, attaches the trail wheel. It takes about 3 seconds to attach it to the saddle, and you're ready to go. It comes with a brake and is just great for single track, really technical trails where you're going to encounter lots of rocks, roots, possibly have to go over downfall of trees, things like that. Weighs 19 pounds, 30 inches tall. The platform or the saddle is 24 by 19 and has a super, super high quality, very tough stainless steel spoked wheel with a specially designed 3-inch wide tire that's got a really sticky rubber compound that does well on those roots and rocks and things that I talked about before. And of course, one of the main attractions of this device, and as far as I'm aware of, the only device in its class that has a disc brake, which really saves on rescuers when you're going up and down lots of hills. You don't have to set up ropes to belay to maintain control of the patient and litter, and just makes it very easy to descend those steep hills. Kind of the big brother to the Trail Tech is the Train Master, and it's not uncommon because of one of the features we built in for a SAR unit or fire department to have both of these wheels, but only one saddle. And we built the Train Master and the Trail Tech to fit the same saddle so that depending on the conditions that you might encounter on your rescue, the wheels are interchangeable. So again, you can leave the saddle on the litter. You still have a stable patient loading platform, and then when you need to transport, you make your selection of your wheel on which one suits the needs the best. Train Master, different from the Trail Tech. It is the lightest unit out there of its type with a full flotation tire on it. It also breaks down into two sections, and it is packable because it does break down into two sections, but it is approaching 30 pounds, so you do have to be conscious of what you're loading folks on. We see it a lot in short haul situations, beach areas, places where sand, snow, mud are prevalent. Again, 29 pounds, basically the same dimensions as the Trail Tech. So if you're used to using the Trail Tech, changing over to the Train Master is not going to be a big change other than its handling characteristics. We use a full billet aluminum wheel. It's actually quite an expensive wheel, very high quality, but we felt that given the demands that are placed on these wheels and the environments that they're put in, that was the best product to go with versus plastic or a much heavier steel wheel. Has a big tire on it, 18 inches in diameter, 10 inches wide. It's a low pressure tire. There's only 3 or 4 pounds of pressure in the tire, so it does really well on in conditions that are not stable and where it needs a lot of grip. It also provides the patient with a little bit more comfortable ride, as it has a little more shock absorption. And again, attaches just like the Trail Tech does, and goes on in 3 seconds, comes off in the same. Probably the biggest downfall of the Trainmaster in terms of weighing it against the Trail Tech is the fact that it does not have a brake at this time. But regardless, personally, I would very much rather not do this and have the ability to just provide forward or momentum on a wheel versus carrying a person out of the backcountry. We tried to get a video to stream for you here, but it wasn't turning out very well. So if you'd like instructions on, or like to see instructions on how to put the Advanced Series litter saddle on a litter, and then also to put the wheel on the saddle, you can go out to YouTube, and there's video out there on how to do that, and there will be more videos that describe the components of the Trail Tech that will show up in the next day or so as well. You can also, if you're interested, check out a video there called Jump Off Joe that I was actually involved in, and the team that showed up to rescue Joe after he crashed his dirt bike had a full complement of Cascade Rescue products at hand. And it's kind of exciting to see because it was shot from my helmet cam. The next product we want to talk about is called the Levitator. It's a one-of-a-kind product that we co-engineered with a company in Durango, Colorado. We're the exclusive manufacturer distributor of the product now, and the Levitator does so many things that everyone we have sold them to just can't understand how they actually lived without this thing before this. It's designed to be used behind a pickup truck, a snowmobile, an ATV, with attendants, as a trailer. Basically anything that has a Class 3 harness can pull it very stably at speeds of up to 35 miles an hour. It will accept any litter, backboard, toboggan, toolboxes, you name it, you can pretty much load it onto the Levitator. When you're operating in a two-person environment, each attendant has the capability of providing braking action. So somebody feels a little bit uncomfortable about the speed, or needs to slow the unit down to make a corner or pivot, they have a brake right at their fingertips. And lastly, probably one of the greatest attributes of the Levitator is that it has a completely pneumatic shock system that is adjustable to the patient's weight and/or conditions that you're encountering on the trail. This full suspension makes going over obstacles just simply a breeze. It climbs and descends obstacles up to 6 inches without transmitting any shock to the patient. Not to say that it won't go over larger obstacles. I've taken it over, a 1.5 foot, 2 feet tall obstacles up or down, and you do get some transmission of that shock to the patient. Not very much though, and I've gone at speed being pulled behind an ATV, maybe going 8-10 miles an hour over 6-inch logs, and you truly don't even feel the impact. The handles on each end of the Levitator are adjustable. There's 4-point adjustment for attendance, so you can adjust for varying heights, and really adjustment can occur on the fly. So if you're going down something very steep, the person in the back is going to want to have their handles high, and the person in the front will want to adjust their handles in a lower position to make it more comfortable and easier for them to control the unit. The handles can also fold completely underneath it for storage, or when you're using it as a trailer, so that they're out of the way. And also when you're at a rescue scene, the handles fold directly down. You can lower the levitator onto those handles, so you've got a super stable platform for loading your patient. Once you're loaded and ready to transport the patient, the system is charged with a CO2 system, charges the pneumatic shocks, raises the levitator's handles off the ground, and then the handles are articulated up to whatever the most comfortable position is for the people running the device. Or if it's going to be pulled behind an ATV or other vehicle, the handles can then be folded completely underneath it so that they're out of the way. I guess one point I didn't make back there is that because of its control abilities and the handles and its design, there is just a huge reduction in the effort required to bring someone out with a levitator, even in rough terrain. Really saves rescuers. Looking at it, you'd think it was, because of its size and construction, you'd think it would be a fairly heavy vehicle, but it's actually not. And at 90 pounds, very easy to walk in with one person or two. Certainly doesn't add much to the rescue scenario coming out. Total of 11 inches of wheel travel, which while not transmitting any shock to a patient going over something 6 inches, it gives you a lot of compression capability when you're dropping off, say, a 2-foot rock step off coming down a mountainside. There's also a variety of accessories available for the levitator, gearboxes, toolboxes, IV holders, things like that. And if you have questions about that, feel free to contact Cascade Rescue or PMI, and we can walk you through those, or I believe they're also available on the website. A few of the customers that are using the levitator extensively, this certainly isn't an all-inclusive list, but it's interesting to note that there's search and rescue units as well as ski resorts, FEMA, fire departments, and kind of interestingly enough, well, Weeby Racing is not the company that I was getting ready to talk about, but the Works Racing Series, which is the host of huge dirt bike indoor and outdoor racing, has a couple of these that are in regular use and frequent use. So I want to just give you kind of an idea of what this device looks like out in the field. This is a picture of levitator with the handles extended down so that you've got a stable working platform. Once the patient's loaded, those handles articulate back up, and you're ready to roll with your patient loaded and packaged. Again, the brakes make the levitator very handy coming down hills for control and saving work on the rescuers. This is an actual rescue scenario. I can't remember if this is La Plata County or Durango Fire Rescue, but real tough rescue in some ugly terrain, snowy, rocky, icy conditions, and probably would have been a lot tougher on the patient had the levitator not been there and at hand. Definitely would have been a lot tougher on the rescuers themselves, just trying to carry someone out in these kind of conditions on single track would have been presented a great opportunity for more rescuers to be injured. Talked about using the levitator behind an ATV, and again, just any vehicle that has a Class 3 receiver can pull the levitator. City of Miami has several of these they use for beach rescue, and levitator does great out on the sand, in the water, those kind of conditions. This is just a simple situation where the Forest Service needed to bring materials in for trail building, and so they acquired a levitator to use as more of a cargo type device to bring materials in. And again, just another shot of levitator being used behind an ATV. Here's one of the levitators at one of the Work Series races. Probably get a good idea of how much use levitator gets in this scenario with these guys. And if you watch the Jump Off Joe video, you'll get a real good idea of why the levitator would be handy at these events. On the snow, the levitator has got a complete ski attachment, and the skis now, this is an older version of the skis. The skis now are wider and have a platform for a rescue attendant to stay with the patient. With the tank tracks, or 4-tracks, I think as they're called on four-wheelers, this is a great vehicle for getting just about anywhere in the backcountry. The flotation of the levitator combined with that of the four-wheeler with the tracks keeps you up on top of the snow, and you can virtually go in anywhere to retrieve a victim, get them loaded up and brought out. So great for avalanche-prone areas or high snow areas. Levitator also works well behind a snowmobile, although certainly need to be conscious of the fact that driving a snowmobile anywhere in the backcountry on deep snow certainly involves a great deal more skills requirement than perhaps driving a four-wheeler with the 4 tracks on it. Here's a shot of the City of Miami. They have one of the levitators set up to bring in gear in the case of a remote extrication event where they can't get their trucks in. They've got one of these set up so that they can put their gearboxes on it, tie them down, or fix them to the levitator and then tow it in with one of their ATVs. One of the other nice things about the levitator is that we make a rack for it. So transporting it to a rescue scenario, you don't necessarily have to have a trailer for it or be pulling it. We have a bumper hitch that goes right into a Class 3 receiver. You can put it right on the back of a pickup truck, drive in, drop it, and you're ready to go in for the rescue scenario. It's an earlier version, but it is in one of the rescue vehicles for a search and rescue unit, and they simply mounted it to the wall of their trailer, their command center, and so when needed, they can just pick it up off the wall, take it outside, and they're ready to roll with their device. So in summary, key things about the levitator. It prevents further injury to the patient and the rescuer, and flat out it saves people, especially on some of those long hauls where you got to bring people out over rough terrain. Really is the ultimate patient comfort. Great work platform when you've got to take care of somebody, and it saves a ton of time. Can use it on almost any vehicle or manually in any terrain. And in terms of all of the devices out there, it's what I would consider to be a real solution for just about every backcountry rescue. So I'm going to wrap it up here, open this up to questions, and would just like to really thank you for your time. Jessica, you still there with us?
I am. And let me just switch this back over to my screen. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat/questions area of your control panel, and we will get them answered for you. We don't have any yet, but I'm going to go ahead and do some closing up things. So if you have any, feel free to type them in while I'm talking. We'll have a link to email Dana on our website at the link shown on your screen, and that's also where you'll find the slides to download and also the recording of this presentation. And we do have a couple of questions now. Let's see. How well does the levitator handle side hilling?
Am I typing or am I talking?
Oh, you can talk.
Very well, actually. Certainly, anytime you get into, and I've been there on a number of rescues, when you get into clay or really muddy, greasy conditions on a side hill, it's tough with anything. But if the wheel can get traction and the patient or the attendants can stay, with the transport, you'll be fine. I would say, probably up to 30 degrees, low incline stuff on a side hill, you're going to be fine. You start getting steeper than that, 40, 45 degree angles. It's not so much that the levitator wouldn't stay on the side hill. It's that the rescuers themselves can't mobilize on something like that. Hopefully that answers the question.
Can you tell us more about your manufacturing facility in Idaho?
Manufacturing facility in Idaho. We occupy about 15,000 square feet, close to the airport here in Sandpoint. We used to be in the Seattle area, but we had grown beyond the limits of our building there, and to build a new building there was $1 million proposition. So we decided that if we were going to have a new facility, we would build one somewhere where we had access to all of the things that we do as a company. So I don't know if you've ever been to northern Idaho, but we have a 42-mile long lake about 3 miles from our facility that serves as an excellent proving ground for some of our water rescue products, like the Red Sled, the rapid extrication device. We also have 4 different mountain ranges surrounding the area that are home to some of the most remote wilderness settings you could find. We also have a ski area, 3,000-acre ski area, about 9 miles from our office. So for all of the products that we produce, we have just about everything we need to help with the development and testing of the products here, as well as provide ourselves and our employees a great quality of life environment for outdoor enthusiasts. The facility itself, right now we're undergoing our ISO 9000 certification process. As you might imagine, you can't run to Home Depot and find tools and products that are well suited to manufacturing litters and rescue wheels and things like that. So we end up manufacturing our own tooling as well as the products themselves to make the products that we do. So not sure that answered the question, but if you need a follow-up on that, let me know.
All right, great. How has your own personal SAR experience helped you develop your litters?
Well, SAR experience, ski patrol experience, you know, as I said at the beginning of my presentation here, we develop products to solve problems, and from a member of a SAR team and as a ski patroller and as a consultant to several different fire departments, that's how I identify needs. And there's nothing like having the opportunity to identify a need at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're sitting there wondering to yourself why you don't have this or that, and wouldn't it be great if there was a product that did this, because it would sure make all of our lives easier right now. Or in the case of, in a real good example, in the case of our advanced series litters, which used to be put together, our two-piece units used to be put together with a series of pins and sleeved railings, and it only took me one 5 a.m. trip in 3 feet of snow, and it's still dark, couldn't get the litter together, someone lost a pin, and it just ended up being a horrendous rescue when it didn't really need to. And so that was a real incentive for me to get out there and develop something better, and that's how we came up with the interleave plate system on the bottom of the advanced series, as well as the screw lock connectors. So no more pins, no more things to lose, sleeves that don't match up and don't fit, and we had a contest at one of the search and rescue conferences, and the winning team was able to assemble one of the litters completely in less than 8 seconds. So, and I think that was even after beer, so they did pretty well.
That's great. Okay, so that's all the questions we have so far. So if you have any more, please feel free to type them in, or you can also go to our website. I will have a link up to email Dana within a few minutes, and we will also be hosting another webinar. We host them quite frequently, so keep an eye on our website for future dates and topics. And if you'd like further news and updates for PMI, you can sign up for PMI's e-newsletter and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at the links shown on your screen. And like I said, this is going to be posted within 24 hours on our website. And if you have any further questions, feel free to email Dana, also on our website. And thank you so much for everybody for being here, and thank you, Dana, for doing this. It was very informative.
You bet. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's time.
Have a great day, everybody.